Chapter 1.
The Northern Lights.
Ross Head was 3 blasts, Dunnet Head was 3 blasts, Duncansby Head was 5 blasts, Duncansby was 1 blast. Dunnet Head was 3 blasts, Duncansby Head was 5 blasts, Duncansby was 1 blast, Moray was 2 blasts.
The lighthouse went up in the 1920s, and I was born in 1931. So, no, lighthouse was there were lighthouse keepers there, where I remember. There's a fellow Thompson, Shaw, the West. They used to go to school, they walked to school from the lighthouse till the school at China Grove.
Chapter 2. The Keepers.
Originally came to Caithness with a lighthouse service in 1975, I think it was, to Duncansby Head. I had 3 of my family at that time, and it was quite a wee community at Lighthouse at that time. There was 7 kids attending the school at Canasby. We spent 3.5 years at Duncansby. Each keeper did 4 hours on, 8 hours off, right round the clock, just like shipboard watches. We also had the foghorn there, which was used quite a lot. We could be sitting in thick fog at Duncansby Head and people would be basking in sunshine down at Sanic Beach and Johnny Groats. The fog used to hang on the headland for sometimes up to 3 weeks at a time. Fog engines were big diesel Kelvin engines producing compressed air, which blew the horn. Every horn had a different character. Same as with the lights, every light has a different character, amounts of different flashes, different amounts of seconds in between them. Especially important to like at Duncansby Head, where there was 5 or 6 different lights could be seen from Duncansby. Go up and say Pentland Skerries, Dunnet Head and the Orkney lights as well, Swana, Stroma. So you needed every light to have a different character, so that the mariners on the sea could tell exactly where they were. The highlight of the week was the shopping trip. On a Friday, Ali Sinclair would come up from John O'Groats and take the wives and any keeper that was off duty into Wick, and we did our weekly shopping, and then we would rendezvous with the taxi down at the riverside and drive back to John O'Groats and up to the lighthouse.
I was in the lighthouse service from 1973 to 1976, and my main station was North Head, which is just down the coast from here, of course. But after I retired, I never lost this fascination, if you like, about lighthouses. And when I retired, I was asked by the then owner of North Head Lighthouse if I would look after the premises while he was on holiday. So from 2007 through to about 2014, I was up there maybe 3-4 times a year, looking after it, and just loved going round about the premises. And to this day, I still haven't lost the fascination with it. The day starts off just like any other. Everyone, gathers in the morning for breakfast, other than the person that's been on watch during the night. And then, if during the summer, daily tasks are allotted. The place is always painted from top to bottom during the summer, and there's a lot of maintenance to be done around the place. During the winter, it's completely different. Everything tends to be indoors because we can't do any work outdoors. But the principal point of any lighthouse is quite simply to keep it working. And because of that, the very nature of the actual operation, it's a nighttime operation. The keepers themselves, I found I wasn't like this at all, so I can't hammer a nail in straight. But I knew of some that were excellent watchmakers, and another I know who made boats, and there's a lot of downtime. And the other thing I should have said was a lot of them were well read. We had the time, but what struck me about Duncansby was that, with it being a square tower, all the other towers I'd been in were round, and I was quite fascinated by this small tower with a tiny optic on the top, and it was so different from anything else I'd ever seen.
My name is James Rosie. I'm born and bred from Midtown, Fraser, and as I told it, my dad used to be a lighthouse keeper in Duncansby Head, lighthouse keeper. So my father, James Rosie, also James Rosie, was born at Burnside, John O'Groats. He married and moved to Fraser. From there, he travelled to the lighthouse to do his shifts, mostly late nights. He also worked at the mill with my sister. We had a visit now and again. My dad used to take us a visit up to the lighthouse, maybe on a Sunday or whenever. And I can remember the steep stairs. There was like two flights of stairs. I think it was like three steep stairs. Then I remember the stringy light. I'm not sure what age I would have been at the time, but the really polished lenses on the stringy light. You got a lovely view at the top. I can remember my father saying some shifts were particularly hard to stay focused and keep awake. He used to go outside for a walk in the fresh air if he was feeling sleepy, as you had to keep the light deck and take note of passing shipping. If you fell asleep at watch and the light went out, you would only get another chance if you lost your job. My granddad, also James Rosie, was a lot of James Rosie's generation, from Burnside, was involved in the building of the lighthouse, as there was just a shed in Forburn before it was built, I believe. His eldest son, Arthur, my uncle, also became a full-time lighthouse keeper and travelled to some island stations and settled down in Shetland to raise his family. One story I can recall him telling me was that a severe storm was blowing one night, and it was so strong all the windows in the accommodation block were broken with bits of rock blown up from the cliff face. After that, there was mesh fixed outside of window frames to stop that happening again. I think it might have been the same storm that lasted for a few days. The principal lighthouse keeper had chickens, and it was so severe a storm they had to crawl on his hands and knees to eat them in the hen house for fear of being blown over the cliff.
Chapter 3. The Shroki. Chapter 4. On the Water.
I am the Duncansby Lighthouse. I stare across the sea. I stand square and squat and white. All the sailors look to me. I am the Duncansby Lighthouse. I stand square and squat and white. I shine a guiding beacon across the darkness of the night.
For 100 years I've stood here where caveness catches her squalls.
Beneath my solid feet all is motion and eddies, tide races and overfalls.
That had shaped Stroma and washed rough the Pentland scurries.
The salty moon over Duncansby Head pulls round the swirling swelking.
Uplifts the bores of Henna and the wells of Tuftley.
Pots dancing the balls of Duncansby.
And makes merry the merry men of May. The Pentland Firth is a boiling pan.
The Atlantic Ocean is deep and vast.
The North Sea flows in from the east.
Dunnet Head is a shadow to the west.
Oh, greet with joy the rising sun, as two mighty oceans one into the other pours. The cold east wind shouts a warning,
and the wild west wind roars. As the foamers glide in a figure 8, so elegant and free.
The foamers dance in the lighthouse beam, the valley of the sea.
The raven watches from the cliff the world and all its wondrous ways.
The raven knows the tides and bays.
The scaries on the stacks the raven knows.
And to where the tide of time flows.
The islands stretch like a flagstone path for ship and whale and you.
All the way to the endless north, where everything is true.
From Hoona to Berwick, the green sea sings. pulls ebb and flow through as the peddling firth churns, as red winter sunset to summer dawn blue turns.
The sea is what the seamen say.
Light, light, the light of Duncansby.
I am the Duncansby Lighthouse. I stare across the sea.
Chapter 5. A Century.
Lighthouses, to me, have always seemed very magical and interesting because they're things you can see from quite far away, but it's very unusual that you get the chance to go inside them. So they're always quite a mystery. Duncansby Head Lighthouse is one of my favourite lighthouses. I can see its light from my house, which is nearly 10 miles away, but I can just see the light at night coming over the hill, which is really lovely. And it's a place we walk to quite a lot. Spent a lot of time there, whale watching. And yeah, it's a lovely beacon for the county and a beacon for me personally.
When I worked in a hotel, I knew all the lighthouse keepers. They used to come in for a pint now and again, and I got to know all the lighthouse keepers. Because they only stayed for so many years, and then they would go to another lighthouse, and then another family would arrive.
Just
So that was really lovely.
And I think that's, to me, the social history element of it, that this is quite important. They would have to be part of the community when they were here, but they were probably unknown to the community, and then suddenly they're gone and somebody else is there. So when we were up the top, didn't know one of the guys fell against the light and stopped it. There was nothing but a roar from down below. You know, all you had to do was just touch it off.
I've always visited John O'Groats, and walking to the Duncansby stacks, viewing the lighthouse on the way was always something we always did. So yeah, I've got lots of memories of just walking that trail long before the path was really quite established, and viewing the stacks as they come into view over the hill and everything. It's just, yeah, it's stunning. Yeah.
Same really, I thought it would be older than that. It just shows you it's still even 100 years old and still going. Still going.
Lighthouse. 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 Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
So that's where the Lighthouse is at John O'Groats.
Lighthouse.